Hey listeners, welcome to this special place. We are now in the Tyrolean Parliament, and exactly at this historical place I'm going to interview Hidde Hageman. Hidde Hageman is director and founder of Hologram Media, and he lives nowadays in Innsbruck, and but he's raised and born in the Netherlands, so we will speak about the Netherlands and what you can do there. Have fun and enjoy. Welcome listeners to the podcast Communicate with the World, sponsored by EUROPE Direct. Don't believe tourists, we ask the locals. Hid, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, man.
What a pleasure to have you on my podcast. I really feel awesome to have so great people next to me for my podcast. So you're living in Innsbruck, but you're born and raised from Netherlands, right?
That's correct. Born and raised in the Netherlands, from basically the center of the Netherlands, in a tiny town called Hidde, in between Utrecht and Amsterdam. No mountains, and now here in Innsbruck.
What do you like the most about Innsbruck?
What I like the most about Innsbruck?
Let's say how come that you're here in Innsbruck now?
Yes, I mean, it's maybe a bit cliche. I guess a lot of people come to Innsbruck for the outdoors and the mountains, and that's basically what drew me to Innsbruck as well. It really is just a really good mixture of outdoor sports that you can do, and then you can combine that with your professional career. So it's a nice work-life balance, which I was looking for, and I just really love the mountains. So I'm really happy to be here.
Which is a big difference to the Netherlands, right?
Yes, our highest mountain is about 130 meters high, I believe, or maybe a bit higher, but it's basically a mogul.
Yeah.
There's not much to it.
Got that.
It's not a real mountain.
Different, but there are a lot of beautiful spots in Netherlands, right? I have been there a few times and I really liked it. So let's start with Amsterdam. What you can suggest about Amsterdam, or what's in your mind at first if you think about Amsterdam?
What is at mind at first with Amsterdam? Well, I mean, obviously the architecture is really nice, and I always just really enjoyed roaming around Amsterdam and just looking at the buildings. They're classical buildings, and actually you have a lot of funny people roaming around the city streets, so it's kind of fun to see the craziness of it. And what comes to mind and what I've done with friends in the past is actually take a little boat ride and just sit down and just enjoy the scenery. It's a touristy thing to do, but it does get you to the nice places in the city. So that would be one thing. Enjoy the architecture, and then the musea are really nice. So there's just a ton of cultural stuff that you can do, and it's a bit for everyone. You can also just go there, obviously, to have some drinks and have a good time when you want to go out. It has a lot of stuff.
Yeah, that's the main thing what comes in my mind if you think about Amsterdam. Obviously, having a good time, partying and things like that. But I also did the boat ride. It was really cool, so I'm totally confirm what he's saying. Yeah, really nice. In my mind, it's a really beautiful city, but also really crowded. So
yeah, that's kind of what a lot of people in Amsterdam that lived there as well for many years. They saw the tourism picking up over the years, and so that's basically what makes it less comfortable for a lot of people that live there. Just the insane amounts of tourists roaming around. And I always like to go to Amsterdam, but I also just as happily leave it, to be quite honest, because to me it's too chaotic. It's enjoyable for a day or two, but personally I don't want to be there longer than that. It's enough after 2 days. But people are different. People want different things. So I guess if you like crowds, go to Amsterdam.
Good point. Well, what would be alternatives, like other cities or other places?
So I personally, I studied in Utrecht, which is a city about 25 kilometers from Amsterdam. And I would really recommend that. It's a student city. Actually has some similarities to Innsbruck, I would say, except it doesn't have mountains, but it's very beautiful. It looks a bit like Amsterdam, but it's not the same. But it has the canals, but less canals, I guess. but it's just less touristy. Atmosphere is really nice. Obviously, I'm biased because I studied there and I really had a great time there. So to me, it's a nicer city, but it depends on, like some people that studied in Amsterdam, some of my friends, they obviously were biased towards Amsterdam, and they would tell you Utrecht is not as great as Amsterdam. But
don't worry, that's not a bias. That's why I'm asking local people. So.
Yeah, exactly. No, I would personally definitely recommend going to Utrecht. Have a look there if you want to visit the city. But obviously there's plenty of other things you can visit in Holland, and I think a lot of people come to the Netherlands to visit these typical places like Amsterdam and maybe Rotterdam and maybe even Utrecht as well. But I think there's a lot more to do in Holland that is not city related.
True, yeah. Well, you said already 25 k's just between Amsterdam and Utrecht. Amazing.
Yes.
You don't have that in other countries, that all the big cities are so close to each other. So I was going by train at this time, and it was so easy to go from city to city. It took me, well, maximum 1 hour to go from city to city. It's ridiculous, right? It's a big advantage in the Netherlands. You can see a lot of things in a short time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's super close, and I would actually suggest if you go there, take public transport, avoid cars, because the main highways, especially in between the bigger cities, it gets clogged up a bit. So it's a very highly dense population in the Netherlands, and this causes a lot of traffic jams. So if you want to avoid frustration in the Netherlands, I would really recommend just going with the public transport, and fingers crossed they run in time and stuff like that, because we have a love-hate relationship with the public transport as well as Dutchies. But in general, it's nicer than driving your car around in the Netherlands. Saves you a lot of headaches.
Yeah. What about the price level? We spoke about the trains, public transport. What do you would say? How much would it be to go from Amsterdam to Utrecht? So which is
with the train tickets, you mean?
With the train ticket, yeah.
Ooh, it's been a while because I've been here for a while. But I honestly don't remember. But it's actually a little pricey these days.
Not so cheap?
No, but I mean, it got more expensive over the years, but you can get these discount cards. So you can probably find some discount cards for...
Everyone or just the locals?
No, I think everyone. You can just kind of purchase, for instance, a day ticket for the whole country, or like a week ticket, those kind of deals. I would look out for those things, because actually if you do the one-way tickets, it actually adds up a little bit. I mean, it depends on what you want to spend, but it's not super cheap, at least. Let's put it like that. I would say, like...
But that's a good summary. Netherlands, all in all, is not a super cheap country, right?
No, it's not.
Yeah. But you would say Netherlands is a little bit more expensive than Austria or the German prices?
Yeah, I would say Austria is a bit cheaper, but I mean, things changed a little bit over the whole COVID time, so who knows?
Exactly, especially at this time.
And it's like we're in peak inflation at the moment, so who knows? I think all prices went up everywhere. But I just came from Switzerland a few days ago, or actually yesterday, and the prices there are significantly higher. Just going for anything in Switzerland, it's kind of painful to the wallet. So I'm actually happy to be back in Austria, buying Austrian prices.
Well, let's go back to the Netherlands. So, are there any secret spots what people really should see? Do you want to tell our listeners something what not everyone will find on Wikipedia?
Yeah, of course. So there's actually, I mean, the main cities, Amsterdam, Utrecht, The Hague, Rotterdam. They're nice if you want to be a city hopper, but if you want to experience nature in Holland, which is not actually like a very common thing that people go out in Holland and watch the nature, although some people do. But there are some provinces that have less people and more nature. So Drenthe is a province that has quite a lot of forests that is just really beautiful. A lot of dunes, like sand dunes. I don't know if you know what those are, but it's just a really pretty place, and you got a lot of these like historical places where people used to live way back in the days. These rock formations that people used to put together. They're called hunebedden. It's something I would look up. It's very impressive.
Interesting, never heard about that, so it's...
So people used to live in this area back in the days, and they were farmers there, but they kind of made these tombstones that are made out of these huge glacial rocks. So there used to be, like in the ice ages, the ice was all the way up there, and it pushed the big rocks from the mountains up there, and somehow the people managed to construct these tombstones. And you can see them in the forest. So when you're wandering around this area, you kind of run into them from time to time. And it's very beautiful, and it's very impressive because those rocks are massive. So you wonder how they did it back in the days. I still don't actually can give you that answer, but maybe if you visit, you can find out. I'm sure there's a museum that can tell you. And then we have the Dutch islands, which is in the north. And we share some with Germany too. It's called Wadden Islands. And you can take a ferry up there. It takes 4 hours, so it's a bit of a travel, but it's a very beautiful scenery. So you have to manage to get to the north, to the northern part of the Netherlands. You take a ferry there, and then you can stay on either of these. Like there's 5 or 6 islands, and you can visit them, bike around them, rent bikes on the island. And you really feel like you're on an island. Most of them don't have cars on them, and it's just really pretty.
Okay. So what do you want to say? What would you say about people from Netherlands? Are they open-minded? Is it easy to get in touch with them for a foreigner?
I would say so.
English?
I think so. I think in general, I mean, we were speaking in general terms now, but in general, I think Dutchies are very open-minded, entrepreneurial, creative. You'll find that a lot in the Netherlands, but obviously you get a wide variety of people because there's so many people packed into one small country. So, but in general, open-minded, friendly people that just enjoy your story, whether you're from Austria or from Peru. We want to know about where you come from, and we're interested in what you have to tell. People are open-minded and wanna have people from all over the world be part of the society.
So it sounds that it's really easy to survive with just English. So you don't.
You can totally. For that. Yeah, Dutchies are quite fine speaking English. Actually, it's quite natural to us. So you don't need Dutch language. It's not the best language to learn anyway, because there's not so many people speaking it, I guess. So.
Yeah, exactly. So what do you say about security back in Netherlands?
That's a good question. I mean, it depends on where you go. There's obviously neighborhoods in the bigger cities that are a bit tricky.
So you really should have a look.
Yeah, well, I know just from back in the days, going to Rotterdam, in some neighborhoods that I was really paying attention to where I was going. But generally speaking, I felt safe in the Netherlands. I've lived in all kinds of neighborhoods in my study days because I was hopping around houses a little bit there, like many students do, and so you end up kind of in all parts of the city at some point. And I did feel some tension sometimes. In general, it's safe. I felt safe, but I've also been in places that felt safer. If I'm here in Innsbruck, I would say I feel more safe than being in Amsterdam in a certain time, in a certain place. So for instance, in the city center in Amsterdam, after 2 p.m. with drunk people, there is more tension out there. You want to not be naive about that. I've been robbed once in Amsterdam, just going to the ATM, and they stole my wallet when I got the cash out.
Okay.
And that's something that I don't think would happen in Innsbruck, for instance.
I could not imagine that now.
No.
But you never know, obviously, but...
Never say never.
Yeah, never say never.
But,
exactly.
Look around you a little bit. Don't be paranoid, because that's also annoying, but there's people out there that will identify you as a tourist when you go there. And they're like pickpocketers and stuff. People that are out there to get you, they are there. And you get that in most bigger cities, I would say. So just don't be naive about where you keep your stuff, and just look around a little bit, especially in Amsterdam when there's like so many people around you and you're kind of walking around like cattle. It's very easy for people to steal your phone when it's sticking out. Like, be aware of that.
So thanks a lot. It was amazing. Thanks for all the informations, for your secret places, and also for the security informations, which are really important, because, you know, everyone wants to be safe. And yeah, thanks a lot that you have been my guest, and hopefully we see each other soon again in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, man.
Thanks, man.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you for inviting me in this lovely place.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Don't believe tourists. We ask the locals.